accepted, the conference adopted that we should have a state police.
Power is taken, and we are ready to take power by all means necessary.
That they are still Nigeria shows it's not a failed state. Soviet Union is a failed state. Czechoslovakia is a failed state. They've gone their different ways. There's now Slovak and there is Czech, Republic of Czech. And the old Soviet Union had broken without any gunshot into many units. Do we want to see dismemberment of Nigeria or disintegration of Nigeria? No, we don't want to see it. I do not wish for it to happen, but the way we are going, God forbid that we do not use our own hands to make it a failed state.
They should invoke the Freedom of Information Act to compel the commission that is in charge of fixing salaries and emoluments of public servants to declare the salaries now, not only of National Assembly members. What does a minister earn? I mean, the judiciary, what are their salaries?
Okay, let's provide you with a level playing field. Let everybody go for the primaries.
$20 billion was missing. CBN governor said so. He sacked the CBN governor for saying that $20 billion was missing. But the Minister for Finance acknowledged that they can't account for $10.8 or $10.2 billion. Okay, but whether it's 10.8 or 20 billion, something was missing. Somebody should be resigning.
Country today is almost heading towards a precipice. We have to be very careful.
It's inconceivable, flabbergasting, unbelievable.
Orca was procured by some Nigerians to assassinate me. An Orca bombed Abuja.
Come May 29, 2015, a new government will be taking over the ends of affairs in Nigeria. We are at Allen Roundabout to hear from the citizens of Nigeria their expectation come May 29, 2015.
We're expecting them to, with all the promises they made during the election, we want them to, effectively and efficiently deliver, because they have aggravated our expectations very, very high. So if they don't deliver the Nigerian citizens are now exposed. They are well informed. They have everything at their fingertip. So if you go contrary to it, we definitely will change the government.
All we need is from the new government to give the youth a good job, electricity, water, and so on like that.
Nigerians we've been craving for change, and I think by May 29 we should see changes. Though we are not expecting too much from the president, but we know he will do something.
My first expectation is, according to what I heard in the news, that Lagos State, they are doing small IPP, and I heard the central incoming government, they are going to adopt the style of Lagos State and do small independent power projects. Then light power will come to it, at least if not 100%, at least we have some improvement. So I have hope in that.
My expectation is very high. The economy has been very bashed, that I had to leave my family and come to England to work so that my children could finish university. And coming back to Nigeria since about 5 years ago, I've seen the effects of the outgoing government, and my expectation about this Buhari government is very high. Buhari had been our president previously, and when he was president of Nigeria as a military president, he sort of transformed Nigeria. There was discipline. So, in like manner, I expect he will do the same.
Since the past government is not been nice to, especially the youths, because we have our youths lying fallow, walking down the street. Even after graduation, there's no job, there's nothing anywhere there. So for the next government, I think my suggestion is, 1, employment. Our youth should not work on the road doing nothing, be the servants of the people or something like that. That's our expectation then. I think the children, the teenagers coming up, they should try to curb some menace about their lifestyle. Maybe they should introduce it into schools. They should meet them at schools and do some kind of program for them to change their orientation about life.
I have a lot of resolution coming 29, the day that power will change hands, the day of liberation for Nigeria. Come May 29, Nigeria will be free from all these bondages. We have so many atrocities in this country. A lot of things are going the other way around. There's no job, there's no money. You can see all around Lagos, you can see all around Nigeria, the youth are suffering, unemployment left and right, civil servants are not being paid, pensioners suffering, fuel scarcity. Come May 29, they're going to put a hand to it.
After hearing so much from the streets of Ikeja in Ireland, we are very optimistic for a better government from General Muhammadu Buhari come May 29, 2015. From Lagos, I'm Goodluck Oluwakemi, reporting for Ben TV.
My spot today, me taking my shine away. But now me standing tall, no falling and no door. 'Cause we're here, and the seas breaking from the north. Oh, breaking from the north.
Undoubtedly, this is one of the most significant locations that has been transformed under the administration of Babatunde Raji Fashola, SAN. We are at OSHODI, and I'm sure most of our viewers will agree with me at the end of this segment that OSHODI we used to know many years back is quite different from its current look, considering the beautification, the improved security, and how Lagosian has been able to appreciate this great development. We'll be right back. Don't go nowhere. On my right hand side is the way to Apapa. Behind me is Lagos-Abeokuta Expressway, and on my left hand side is Bagada Road, and ahead of me is a road that leads to Mushin. Basically, we are here to get the reactions of Lagosians of what they feel about the current look of OSHODI and what we used to know many years back.
OSHODI, in many years back that we used to have different kind of say dirty places, and where we have victim of pickpocketers, hideout for hoodlums and what have you. You even find out many traders selling on the street, where sometimes you find vehicles hit them where they are trading. So that's what we used to know. But compared to in recent time now, it has really changed, where we have, in fact, when you get there in the night, the place is always beautiful, it's light up, where you can easily locate where you are going. In fact, it's really a wonderful development in OSHODI.
Presently, OSHODI is wonderful. I wish other part of Lagos will look like OSHODI, compared to what we are having before, which seems OSHODI look like a war front, where you cannot easily pass. But today, the present government had proved that they can do something. I wish, again, I said it, they can turn other side of Lagos to be like OSHODI.
To me, as a skater, I can tell you OSHODI is now an easy way to move. Very easy, because then if you used to skate, skating on OSHODI is very, very dangerous. Even you hit someone while you are skating on OSHODI about 4 years ago. But we thank God today now. We can move freely, you can do some stunts, do some 360, anything you want to do. It's very easy. So
OSHODI is now a mega city. You can compare it to what you have maybe 10 years back. Everything has changed.
OSHODI in the past, we used to know OSHODI as a rowsy area. Areas you can have the area boys sleeping under the bridge and selling along the roadside and others. But now we have a decent OSHODI. As you can see, there is orderliness now, unlike before.
OSHODI is very good now. Very, very good, because things are very different. Like the railway there, you see different people selling goods there, doing this and that. But now everything is okay. There's nothing like that. And the express there, the last one, they control everything. Everything is very okay.
OSHODI before and now, there's a lot of improvement. And the regime now, before the regime now, OSHODI has been, terrible. We can't even get down to this end here. But during Fashola's regime, he actually did something tremendous, and I really commend him for that.
Wow! I'm live here at OSHODI Heritage Park, and you can agree with me that there has been a significant difference between OSHODI we used to know many years back and the current look. Sulaiman Ogunsanya, keep watching Ben TV.
Dr. Jimoh Ibrahim, it's a pleasure being with you this morning, sir.
Thank you. Thank you. Nice meeting you.
Sir, you a world-acclaimed businessman, an international businessman of repute, and of course, I can say African's Donald Trump. You've been the group chairman and CEO of Global Faith Group, which started initially as a petroleum marketing company and evolved into a conglomerate. And now, one of the fastest growing companies in Africa. Tell us the success story and the challenges, which some few people feel is a mystery.
Well, it can't be mystery now. We've left university some 30 years or 25 years ago. So, mostly speaking, I think it cannot be mystery after 25 years. What we call energy group today starts from global fleets, like you rightly said, a dominant business in the oil and gas world, you know, and has metamorphosized into conglomerates. And if you understand the geology or the geography of conglomerates, it's an unrelated diversification. You know, so we've seen ourselves in the oil and gas, in hotel, in investments, in aviation, in university, banking, insurance, reinsurance, and media. Incredible. And we've done this in the last 12 years. And it's been a very interesting encounter. We started by, like I said, in a dominant form, doing a single business, you know, making income from oil and gas beyond 70–80%, you know, of our revenue was coming from one source of business as at that time. The strategy was quite simple. Was simply to buy dominant, what I call it, business petrol stations that are not functioning and then transforming them into a distribution network of the products, you know, and then of course creating cash flow. That was amazing. So we started with about 3 petrol stations, and then what we did was to take loan from the bank and then use it to buy those stations, and then supply oil and gas into them, and then generate revenue, return money back to bank very quickly, you know, because we are doing acquisition, we are growing by acquisition, which is very fast, robust, you know, and of course very acclaiming, you know, if you are growing by acquisition. And then of course it's very, very fast. You don't go start cutting the bush, grading the floor, looking for town planning approval, looking for oil and gas approval. You are buying an existing business. So what you are concerned with is to find out what is wrong with the business and why is the business not working. Then you sort out those problems. It's different from you going to start the business all over. One of the major challenges of businessmen all over the world is the fact that they believe that they can set up their own business and grow it. Before you do that, time has passed. You know, so it's not easy to start a business from foundation and then grow it to the level where you're going to diversify it. You know, a lot of challenges you're going to get. But if you acquire a business, think about acquisition. You acquire a business that is going down. And then, of course, it's going to come to you at a very reasonable amount of money. You have opportunity to do diagnostic review of what is wrong with this business before you even put your money into the business acquisition. Then you can find out. You can also have opportunity to access credits because you have projected income of that business you're acquiring and the past account history. So the bank is comfortable seeing this kind of business in your hands. You also have the title document of the business after acquisition coming to you that can be leveraged upon, you know, to generate more funds to do business. And then, of course, that was what we did in oil and gas. So we saw ourselves about 210 petrol stations, generating about 34 billion cash revenue in 1 month, and every other day, over $1 billion in cash flow. So obviously, we have capacity, financial strength and capacity to leverage that kind of cash flow to acquire any other business. So we take on other businesses, thinking that what if oil and gas does not work? You know, after some time, you know, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to just have 1,000 stations and be looking, you know, so we then decided to take on hotels. So hotels, we never build anyone from foundation. We just go to hotels that were not, have a good customer patronage, like where we are now. You know, we acquired from the Israeli company called HFP. And then, of course, it was easy to know what the problem was, that they don't have guests. That was it. You know, but the opportunity, you know, is in the fact that there will be guests in future where there's efficient services, and we can offer fantastic outlay of goods, rapport, relationship with guests, guests will come, it's a question of one guest testing the facility and then becoming a referral point for other customers to come in, and that was exactly what we did. So we took on the insurance company thereafter, took advantage of federal government privatization, and then we acquired Nikon Insurance. That was quite a smart move because Nikon was almost moribund, about a 40-year-old company, was acquired by us, and then from there, we leverage on that. Remember, we'll be building a lot of financial strengths with these acquisitions, so it was easy to talk to anybody in the world, whether HSBC, whether Barclays Bank, whoever that is doing business in this part of the world wants to talk to us, about the fact that we have the strength to create a good cash flow. And then, of course, one of the things that creates tremendous success for us is that we're able to separate between idea and opportunity. Most people invest money on ideas. We invest money in opportunities. Now, there's a distinction between ideas and opportunity, and I think people find it difficult to separate the two. Idea is something that comes to you easily. You can say, I want to set up Ben Television. That's a fantastic idea. That's an idea. Opportunity requires resources, to pursue. So you need to have resources to pursue an opportunity. Idea doesn't require any resources, and at the time you are conceiving it. Now you see that ideas, have no time limit. You could be dreaming of becoming a professor for 100 years. Even if you go to the grave, you could still be dreaming. You could be dreaming of owning Ben Television forever, and it never come to pass. You could be dreaming of owning your own business. That's the idea. But opportunity expire. Opportunity expire with time. So you either seize it on time, or it leaves you by. So we are able to separate between what is idea of in business and what is opportunity in business. And then not only all the company we acquire, some were also built. We got to a level when we realized that, okay, at this level, we pay all these loans and all that. Imagine you want to grow more and nobody's going to fund you. So what do you do? Then we are considering the idea of setting up a bank. So we look for the jurisdiction where we can set up a bank perfectly. In Nigeria, we are in oil and gas, we are in insurance, we are in reinsurance, we are in hotel, we are in investment. So we thought, okay, let's have a bank in Ghana. So we set up the Energy Bank in Ghana, hoping that that will be a strength of financial support to the business if I have to retire or next person has to take over from me. Finance will not be the reason why he's not going to be in business. Now you have a bank that is running a balance sheet of $500 billion. So obviously speaking, I expect that you can grow your business with this relationship of finding a synergy between you, the current business, and the future business, and creating a nexus of knowledge and relationship building. And I think that's powerful enough to actually bring out what the future holds in stock for us. And that has been the reason why we've been investing. Not only that, after we built the first bank, we had the opportunity of acquiring other banks. So we went to Sao Tome. We acquired OSHODI Bank, which we later changed the name to Energy Bank. So we have Energy Bank in Sao Tome. We already had diversified the insurance arm to this island before now. The island of Sao Tome is promising. We have 45% of oil deposits of the world in the Gulf of Guinea, where Sao Tome is situated. And by now, they might be very poor. But in the future, they'll be the richest country in the world. Thinking this way and seizing the opportunity now, becomes key, and that was one of the reasons why we diversified to that economy very well and very progressively. So we now find out from within the conglomerate what is in the plate. You see, oil and gas, do you want to go that way? Insurance, do you want to do that? Reinsurance, we have about 8 hotels, then we have about 2 banks, the financial service sector, then we have a university, Premier University of Sao Tome. The media, was set up to back up these businesses and then to give us a voice in the political and economic setting of the nation and the rest of the world. So we can say something, it could be recorded, it can be in the internet the next day, other people can read it. So obviously we have a voice, and that is the media. That's why I go to the media, to have a voice that represents us. Because if you don't say the story, somebody is going to say the story for you and will misrepresent you.
That's good.
That's a big summary of how we started and where we are. Thank you.
People call you a turnaround expert, and of course, a lot of people might not know that you made your first million while still at the Obafemi Awolowo University, back in the days. What gave you this? How did you have this initiative for looking for the best?
You see, I'm from a very poor home. My father married 7 wives with about 45 children. I don't know, that's at the last count 10 years ago. I don't know what it is now. So, when you are from that home where 7 people sleep in the same room, you have a vicious circle of poverty. And then you have opportunity to get your WAEC results, advanced level results, posted to you. In those days, we get our results by post. You don't know where WAEC is. You don't know where the head office is. You don't know where your A-level. You just see something on the post. You write your JAMB exam, and then you wait in the village until the postmaster comes to your house and say you have a letter, and you open it. It's a JAMB result, and it's an admission letter to the university. So you try to explain to your father what it means, because my father was illiterate. So you have to explain, oh, I've been admitted to study law in Ife. So what do you mean by that? So you have to explain what's the meaning of law. A lawyer, to become a lawyer, is it like the man in Okutukpa, the local government headquarters? I say, yes, so let's go there and let the man explain to me what you are saying. So you go with him, and then the man says, okay, the meaning of this is that it's going to be like me. You know, so obviously he knows what it looks like. Then you go back to the school. Then you understand that you have to break this vicious circle of poverty. It's done on you to, you know, deploy all resources, all capabilities to create wealth. And that is not negotiable. So when I was in the university, I have this idea of the fact that, you know, this is my background. So you want to go on holiday when they said the university is vacating. You know, when you go to the village, you're going to the farm to spend your holiday. You're university students. Or mostly you don't have a place to go. So sometimes we stay back in the university. You know, I live in the hostel. Even when the porter was pushing us to leave the hostel because we are on vacation, we see dodge from room to make sure that we stay, because alternative is to go home and go to farm. As a part 3 law students, it doesn't make any much sense to us. So mostly we try to create ideas and find out what exactly is in this. When we saw so few ideas, then we crashed the opportunity in it. And then I began to organize things like seminars on law. You know, the first idea was national seminar on local government laws. You know, that was in the university. And I invited about 776 local government chairmen to review the law. There have been state law, there are local government, there are federal government law, but there are no local government laws. So let's look at the possibility of making local government enactment into an established institution of law, instrumentality of law. So obviously, lots of people came for that conference, and it was a 5,000 per local government. You know, you can imagine 5,000 times 776 local governments. That was giving you a lot of money, close to 4 million. A 3 days conference, we probably spent about 200,000-300,000 to organize it in time of buying food for participants and paying lecturers that deliver papers. That's also the first set of millions, and of course, that gives us, you know, the idea that it's possible to make the money. So when we left the university, then we capitalized on it. I never worked with anybody. I've never applied for any job. I've never worked with anybody. I have straight away idea of what I want to do when I left the university and where the opportunity was. The first is to conceive an idea. The next is to see the opportunity in the idea and crash on it like we did. And I think it was quite phenomenal. And God on our side, it was quite fantastic in time of our outing.
Fantastic, sir. As a great investor in Nigeria's economy, do you feel concerned about the state of economy in Nigeria right now? For a place where the dollar is going for as much as about 198 and the pound sterling going for about 320?
Well, that is not the end of it, apparently. The economy, to say the least right now, called for concern. You know, you have a budget of 4.6 trillion naira this year. The current expenditure was about 3.6 trillion. Capital project was less than 500 million because this budget was a combination of the federal government budget and SURE-P budget. So if you take SURE-P budget away, that's about 600 billion naira. You are left with 4 trillion naira. Now the current is 3.5 trillion naira. So you have 500 million that was reserved for capital project. This was less than the amount that was reserved during the recession in 2008 when we had 1.5 trillion to face capital projects. Now 500 billion naira to face capital project is less than $250 million, you know, in time of what they can really bring to bear. And then of course for 160 million people is incredibly very poor. Nigeria seems to be on the financial dangerous lane, and the budget can only be funded. The income from oil and gas can only fund about 30% of the budget, meaning that again, recurrent expenditure will get to a level that it has to stay the way it is, because nobody can fund it. That's why some states cannot pay 5-6 months salary right now, and they try to slash salary by 40%. And they go, without negotiation. They might even go to 80% reduction. That doesn't still mean that they can pay salary. Let's take the state of Osho, for instance. Now, allocation to Osho State is 1.6 billion naira monthly, and of course, the current expenditure on salary alone is 3.1 billion naira. So the government have to wait for about 4 months allocation to be able to pay 1 month's salary. That is paying salary alone. Now, the civil servants, should represent less than 20% of the population. That means that you are using 100% allocation to satisfy the salary of 20%, 80% left untouched when the U.S. social crisis. Now the problem is that all over the years we'll be depending on oil, and I think the problem we have right now is oversupply of oil into the markets. The OECD and OPEC challenges is confronting one another. The OPEC is bringing in some products, but OECD has exceeded the supply output that is expected in the markets, and America is even doing excess supply of 10% of the volume of oil supply in the international market, about 1.9 MBBS, and that's very high volume, because the total consumption for the year is about 30,000 MBBS. So obviously, if one country is doing 10% excess supply, you have oversaturation of the products in the market, so the price have to come down. The cost of production of petrol in West Africa country today is about $48. The selling price is $50. So the gross income is $2 per barrel. So when it gets down to about $30 per barrel, government have to subsidize every barrel of oil before it can sell in the international markets, and that would be a big challenge, and that accounts for about 75% of where our dollar comes from. So as long as the excess crude oil, is in excess, the crude oil is excess in international markets, obviously we have a big challenge in terms of meeting the revenue. So there is nothing to support the naira, and then the naira and the pound sterling will fall, will continue to rise while the naira give away. Now the point is that in terms of the dollar, it's an advantage, because America is saving money for not buying oil from Nigeria since July last year. To the present day, they haven't bought a dime from Nigeria. Now, they even supply oil to Mexico, right now, to mix with Mexico oil to be able to supply international markets. And then they are interested in taking more dominant participation in other countries. And that simply means that, what's the implication of that? The dollar is threatened by the supply of crude oil by America. And then, of course, as long as the dollar is threatened, of course, the prices of the currencies that compete with that dollar will continue to come down. So you can have the dollar exchange for 300 naira. I won't be surprised, because the central bank had no dollar supply that can actually match the volume of demand that is expected, and the country is expected to keep at least 3-month reserve of about 33 billion naira, in foreign exchange to meet the demand for imports. So that's to make it solvent under the international IMF, World Bank regulation. So the way it is right now, we need some bit of global strategy, not some pre-cooked generic approach that we're having now of shouting and marching. Is that we have big challenge at hand, and we need to confront it with equal opportunity in terms of knowing what to do at this critical time. Because right now, I must tell you that we are apparently at the financial dangerously.
Okay, let's look at the PIB, which is still currently debated at the Nigerians National Assembly. Will this PIB be a key to solving most issues with the sector? A lot of debate has been on the local content policy of the federal government. What's your take on this?
I don't think the PIB is relevant here, unless we are deceiving ourselves. The issue is capital injection into the oil industry. The issue is financial capacity and capability of the local players, which is not there. The issue is institutional funding. I mean, banking capacity to fund oil and gas, projects at the upstream sector. 0%. You have difficulty even in funding your exports. Central bank had to intervene in federal government trying to import petrol to Nigeria in terms of funding that subsidy. Where are we going to get money to fund drilling of well? Right now, what we do is a joint venture project between oil company and Nigeria government, 40 to 60%. Nigeria government funding drilling at 60%, oil company participating 40%. Now, when you are making loss at the 40% investment, what do? You think of divesting. The cost of producing a barrel of oil in America and the OECD is about $9. Doing so in developing countries like Nigeria is $48 per barrel. If you are a businessman, which choice will you take? Is that government give you money to help them produce? Or you have no money to really put in to put the money in and then do the production yourself? So, mostly speaking, it's not about PIB. We pass those stages. The key thing is that maybe local people are not allowed to participate in the drilling. It's expensive. And there are no institutional banking that have capacity. If you put the whole of Nigeria bank together, what is the strength of their capacity in the dollar? They cannot even fund the budget. So if the balance sheet of Nigeria bank put together is less than 5 trillion.
So do you think it's a joke?
Yeah, so what is the budget of Nigeria?
Yeah.
You know, if the total balance sheet of the bank is not up to the budget of the federal government, it means that if federal government has no money for 1 year, the entire bank, balance sheet cannot even fund the economy. So why are you talking about PIB or whatever? Is that, and who want to bring in money? You have to look at the international condition before bank like HSBC, Barclays Bank can say, let me participate in this whole lot of sharing of business or what is going on here. Recruitment of my investment, frustrating Naira. So if I invest at 200 to $1, it could become 400 to $1. How do I recruit my investment? Where is the capacity of central bank to make sure that I can get my foreign exchange if I want to return my profit or my capital investment back to the country? That's one problem. Number two, the issue of disposal, the right to enter and the free right to exit from the market. Who buy from me my capabilities in case I want to divest? No local capacity to take me off the business. So that's another thing. Then the ecosystem, which will be a challenge. Political instability. Will I be sure that these guys are going to continue or they're not going to continue? What are they actually doing? What form of government are they running? Is it democracy? Is it noise crazy? Or what exactly is the political framework that's happening here? So obviously you have issues, and when international companies want to make a decision, they make the decision based on local data available, for them to take financial decision in terms of going to the market. These are the problem. If you run an aviation industry, for instance, how do you service your plane where you are going to service, with international organization? Nigeria doesn't have any servicing bay of any aircraft. Is there any place where you can take your aircraft to Nigeria, you can do all the checks as they go? It's not possible. So mostly speaking, we have 70, 80 plane fly, but there's no place to service them. So the institutional capacity in terms of infrastructure is not there to support that leverage and the volume of investment. The question you ask yourself is that the only country in the world where we need this kind of investment? What drives investment here is the population, 167 million people. That's all. Against 60 million London population. And England and Wales, it's not more than 60 million, so almost we're about 3 times roughly, or 4 times more than those sort of guys there. So the market is there, and that's why we say it's an emerging market where you can really get your product sold. So, well, you have to also be ready to take the trouble.
Very good, sir. Sir, the foundation of most world economies is based on building up of SMEs.
Yeah.
And of course, Nigeria per capita income is less than $1 per person. Advice will you give the federal government now? The economies look gloomy and it might be worse off. What do you think they should be doing at this point in time, sir?
The federal government must be strategic in terms of thinking. They must first of all appreciate the volume of problems at hand. Government must be very serious, and government must readjust to reflect the current situation. There is no point if you have money and you no longer have money. There's nothing to pretend about it. If you have a private jet ticket to London before, and you cannot avoid it, not to pretend that you're going to go on Eric. If you tell a friend I'm going to go on private jet and they see you in Eric, what happened? There's nothing to pretend about it. You are just, there is no situation that is permanent. We have this challenge for this short period of time. We face it with equal proportion. Government's activities and operation must reflect the reality of the circumstances of the economy at hand. 1. 2, there must be restructuring of the ministries and cut down on expenditure. You have about 48 ministers. I'm sure the president cannot sit down and put the Bible and list the name, 48 ministers' name, the surname and the main name. It's impossible. I cannot even remember. I have 16 CEOs. I cannot write their name. 16 companies. I cannot write. Sometimes when we're in the function and all the CEO are present, and I want to do the introduction, I will have finished my introduction to realize that I did mention 2 or 3 CEOs' name, and I'm in trouble. I begin to go back, or I have a way to beg them to say, I'm so sorry, I didn't know you were around, or whatever. So this is a problem. Now you have 46 ministers, you have over 300 parastatals. You're going to appoint 300 chairman of board of parastatals, 300 CEOs of parastatals. That makes 600 chairman and CEO of boards. Where do you know them from? How will you know them in 4 years? How do you even do the review of the CV? There is need for integration, of the entire system operation. In business, we do vertical integration, and then segmentation of the markets. So that is necessary in government right now. So you just have to compress the system. The constitution said there shall be a minister from every state of the federation, equal proportion represented. That doesn't matter. You can do regional representation, southwest, 6 zones, and then have about 2 ministers per zone. That's give you 12 ministers. That's straight away. That was the foundation of where we were before this current situation. Now let me give an example. You have the police, you have the safety corps, you have the road safety, you have the Peace Corps, you have the EFCC, you have the ICPC. All of these are police. Then you also have Ministry of Police. Then you also have the Police Service Commission. How does IG know all these institutions? How does the president know if there is a security matter, whom to minute? But so I pity the president many times, because this is a structure that cannot work. Now you have NNPC, right, to be in charge of petroleum. So you have Ministry of Petroleum, who is the foundational owner of the NNPC itself. So you have about 25 directors in Ministry of Petroleum. You have 35 directors in NNPC. So then DG NNPC, or what is it? DGM of NNPC claim autonomy. Minister does. Now we are Minister of Petroleum. We are Minister of State for Gas. We are Minister of State for Petroleum. We are Minister of Petroleum. Then you have DG NNPC. What's all this? So that's exactly what we're talking about. So Nigeria needs to do structural reforms, which goes beyond the transformation agenda. Should work on structure. There is need to demolish the structure, rebuild it, and create capabilities, that can launch you and make you as a country to be competitive. And because you have to open up your border, whether you like it or not.
A lot of Nigerian diaspora, they look at you as a role model. And of course, they are looking for, look, if I have the chance, if I can get on the employ of Jimoh Ibrahim, would that be possible?
Oh, absolutely. I must tell you that a lot of Nigeria in diaspora are fantastic people. One thing that distinguishes them from the people here, they are very knowledgeable people. Maybe because of their exposure, they are well read, and they read rightly, and they write book. So obviously, the only problem is the local condition that sort of don't encourage them to come here. But I'll be glad to partner with any of them to set up a business energy that will transform the whole lot. I need their knowledge. They need my experience of the local contents and the local situation. Two of these marrying each other will foster a very fantastic prospect for Nigeria. When I go to England and I attend church services and I see a lot of these wonderful people, very committed people, and they work very hard. I'm very happy that these are people from this part of the world, but unfortunately, they are not given the right opportunity, to actually display their intellectual power in developing Nigeria problem, solving Nigeria problem. But I look forward to any of them being engaged, particularly to transfer capacity building in terms of knowledge to the local people. One of the problems we have here is that the standard that we receive from the university is bad. So if we have 1 or 2 people, coming to help that situation, that'd be good. And in a workforce of 18,000, if we have diaspora of 1,000, that will completely transform the business. So nobody's going to be explaining to them how to use the Excel, how to store information, how to copy and paste, how to do so many things that the computer can drive. Tomorrow business is computer, is technology driven. It can't be local. Nobody is going to keep file. You know, but you can also use the computer to do your filing in any event. You know, you can create even cloud storage. You know, but here you have to teach everything. So I must sort of apologize on behalf of government that they are not given their right place in terms of taking on the local businesses there. But at the same time, I look forward to interactive session with many of them in terms of most businesses that have gone down in Nigeria will have resurfaced if you bring these people, because they know what to do to create competitive advantage. But they are there. Nobody is assessing them. And I think that's a fantastic opportunity to focus on our next recruitment in looking at Nigeria and diaspora and bringing them home.
Fantastic. I want to say thank you for that
honor.
Thank you very much. And we thank you for giving us this honor to feature in this special series for A-list African businessmen. And of course, we're happy to be here with you in Lagos.
My spot today, me taking my shine away. But now me standing tall, no falling have no door. Cause we're here, and the seas breaking from the north. Breaking from the north.
One, he accepted, the conference adopted we should have a state police.
Power is taken, and we are ready to take power by all means necessary. My comment.
That they are still Nigeria shows it's not a failed state. Soviet Union is a failed state. Czechoslovakia is a failed state. They've gone their different ways. There's now Slovak and there is Czech, Republic of Czech. And the whole Soviet Union had broken without any gunshot into many units. Do we want to see dismemberment of Nigeria or disintegration of Nigeria? No, we don't want to see it. I do not wish for it to happen, but the way we are going, God forbid that we do not use our own hands to make it a failed state.
They should invoke the Freedom of Information Act to compel the commission that is in charge of fixing salaries and emoluments of public servants to declare the salaries now, not only of National Assembly members. What does a minister earn? I mean, the judiciary, what are their salaries?
Okay, let's provide you with a level playing field. Let everybody go for the primaries.
$20 billion was missing. CBN governor said so. He sacked the CBN governor for saying that $20 billion was missing. But the Minister for Finance acknowledged that they can't account for $10.8 or $10.2 billion. Okay, but whether it's 10.8 or 20 billion, something was missing. Somebody should be resigning.
Country today is almost heading towards a precipice. We have to be very careful.
It's inconceivable, flabbergasting, unbelievable.
Orca was procured by some Nigerians to assassinate me. An Orca bombed Abuja